President Tinubu meets Nigerian delegation to fine-tune agenda as Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week opens.
So this presents an opportunity to come with identified projects and try and source the funding.
NIDCAM chairman hails bike warrior and glory fighter, says they are rewriting Nigeria's image worldwide.
Sometimes we think women can't do things, but you use your voice to say we can do it. So we celebrate you.
Plateau governor calls for federal and state synergy to facilitate economic diversification.
The Vice President was pleased to have me, and we had very, very useful conversations.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall focus on implementing digital literacy and emerging skills in Nigeria.
Nigeria's digital journey has moved fast over the last decade. Mobile phones everywhere, more people online, and the young population eager to tap into opportunity.
But here's the catch, Inyere, being online is not the same as being digitally skilled. More than 150 million Nigerians use the internet, yet many still lack the basic skills to compete.
So that's why the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy was introduced in 2019 to build a digitally empowered Nigeria by 2030.
Exactly, Inyere. And now the vision is unambiguous, but implementation has been uneven. Big cities are moving ahead, while many rural communities are still struggling with access and cost.
Oh, so true. And when we say digital literacy, we're not talking about, just being on WhatsApp or Facebook
or Snapchat, and all that.
TikTok.
Yes, it's all about real skills. Using devices confidently, staying safe online, working digitally, and understanding emerging tools like AI and cybersecurity.
Now, which matters because many jobs young Nigerians want today didn't even exist a few years ago. I hear that, the regular kind of career, young people used to yearn for, being a doctor, lawyer, none of that. It's beginning to fade.
No, they want to go into the digital world, the digital economy and all that. And, they are requesting for, challenging jobs. And now to a major development this week on Tuesday, a joint implementation committee was inaugurated for the National Digital Literacy Conference and the Clergy Wealth Digital Skills Nigeria Initiative.
Now, the committee was inaugurated by Dr. Ibrahim Abubakar Akana at the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation.
Why does this matter? Because it drives a bold target, training and certifying 1 million Nigerians in digital and emerging skills under the future-proof economy model.
And this is not a government-funded program. Now, so it's privately funded. So in case you're asking what the private sector is doing, now this is one thing. Now, it's a policy aligned and designed to reach both cities and rural communities.
And the promise is to give youth, women, artisans, underserved groups the tools to access digital jobs and, of course, opportunities out there.
Now, the question is, what skills will be taught? How will certification work? And how will no community, the remotest of communities, not be left behind?
Also, how will the private sector help scale this beyond clergy wealth?
Now, these are the issues we'll be exploring today. I'm Henry John. Welcome to Good Morning Nigeria, reaching you live right here on the network service of the NTA.
And I am Jome Yusuf. Thank you so much for joining us. Later, Chukudi Okolu Ubaja will bring you the newspaper review. But first, the headline news with Salwa Khalil Ibrahim. Salwa, it's good to see you. Good morning. I've not seen you since last year.
Yes, same office. So we could say Happy New Year now. Okay, it's always a pleasure, ladies. Good morning, Nigeria. Here is the news. The Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week Summit kicks off with the opening ceremony slated for today, Tuesday. President Tinubu, who is in the United Arab Emirates to attend the annual summit, has been meeting members of the Nigerian delegation to fine-tune Nigeria's agenda to the summit.
We have a deficit in terms of project preparation. So this presents an opportunity to come with identified projects and try and source the funding.
Meanwhile, the chairman and CEO of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission hailed the remarkable achievement of 2 Nigerians abroad, pledging the Commission's support for their efforts to uplift cancer patients and mentor young talent while promoting the country's positive image globally. Dabiri Arewa hosted a Chinyenwa Judith Amadi, a trailblazing female biker who recently completed a grueling ground trip motorcycle journey from Lagos to France, and Mr. Odera Opovosi, a UK-based professional boxer and entrepreneur.
And it's important that everybody knows that we have a Nigerian woman of courage, of value, of conviction, who believes, and I like what you said, that your voice. Sometimes we think women can't do things, but you've used your voice to say we can do it. So we celebrate you, we're proud of you, and we'll work with you all the way through.
Now, state and the federal government must collaborate to achieve economic development and diversification. Plateau State Governor Khalid Mutfwang stated this after briefing Vice President Kashim Shettima on recent events in the state. He assured his commitment towards sustainable development and collaboration with the federal government in actualizing the renewed hope agenda of the Tinubu administration.
The Vice President would always want to know what is happening in the states. And I can assure you that the Vice President was pleased to have me, and we had very, very useful conversations.
The national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Professor Nentawe Yewada, has directed all coordinators of the ongoing nationwide electronic membership registration exercise across the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory to ensure that no member of the party is left unregistered, scheduled to end on the 30th of this month, or risks removal from office. A statement signed by his special advisor, Media and Communications Strategy, Abimbola Tuki, Professor Yewada said this when he met with all the state coordinators who doubled as state organizing secretaries at the National Secretariat. Professor Yewada reminded the coordinators that they are the foot soldiers of the party, stressing that when party structures at the state level are strong and functional, the party itself becomes strong, and charged state party chairmen to cooperate fully with the coordinators to ensure a seamless and successful exercise. The Association of Resident Doctors has suspended its planned nationwide strike. Following the fresh engagement with the federal government, the North Central Caucus of the association announced this suspension after a series of consultations with government representatives, saying the decision was taken in the interest of patients while discussions continue. These are highlights of the news at this time. Good Morning Nigeria continues shortly with Jomai Anyari after this commercial break. Please don't go away.
This year, Nigeria watched, Nigeria listened, Nigeria partnered.
From Arewa to the coast, west to east, one screen, one signal, one nation.
To our viewers, Mungode, thank you for welcoming us into your homes.
To our corporate partners, Eshegon, thank you for trusting us with your brand, your messages, your ambitions.
Together, we share the news that matter, the stories that unite us, the service that strengthens our country.
To those who stayed with us, Ndeonu, Dalu, Thank you for believing in a platform that stands for trust, authenticity, and reliability.
As the new year dawns, our promise is renewed. Greater commitment, stronger collaboration, higher professional standards.
More value for our clients, more quality for our viewers.
Because when Nigeria speaks, every voice must be heard.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for partnering. Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year.
NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Let's go, darling.
Say what?
I like what I see. Can't get enough of me. I feel like a darling. I feel like a darling.
Darling braids. Wear the latest styles that make you feel like a darling.
In the last 3 years or thereabout, Renewed Hope Initiative, a pet project of Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu, has gained prominence as it works to build a more empowered society. Through the initiative, the First Lady is driving impactful transformation through interventions in 5 key areas, day in, day out. For a rich summary of these interventions, join me, Adeni Taiwo, every Friday between 10:30 and 11 a.m. on Renewed Hope Initiative Half Hour for an inspiring tour into the world of empowerment.
TerraCube, unwrap joy, unleash taste.
This December, all eyes in Morocco. Africa assemble. All dreams are heading one way.
All passion, all fire. Because here, we play different.
Choose your side.
Show your colors. Bring your flag.
And we welcome you to Morocco.
Get ready for the drama, the passion, the pride. From 21st December 2025 to 18th January 2026, history will be made again.
You guys ready?
Afro Sport, your freedom of sport.
Guys, food is ready.
Cook to impress.
Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the NTA. And up next is Newspaper Review.
And our newspaper reviewer, Chukudi Okolubaja, is here. Chukudi, good morning.
Yes, I am fully here with my government height in strong evidence. What's the matter with you people?
Did you say government height?
Government
Yes.
height? What do you mean by that?
Government height means I'm not short, neither am I tall. You know? You don't listen to people. How are you, ladies?
Very well, Chukudi.
Let me stop where I am so you don't say I'm a parrot. Yes.
I like it when you parrot.
You're a great woman anytime.
Yes. Well, we have some papers to go through this morning. Let me begin with this Nigerian newspaper. On this Nigerian newspaper, by the side piece of the masthead, stocks rally as investors gain 745 billion on bullish open. You find the details on page 12. And the headlines, tension in Kanu over Yusuf's planned defection. With riders, governor expected to defect to APC with allies. And the unusual level of surveillance signaled official concern over possible political unrest. You find all that on page 4. Side piece of the picture story, Nigeria's health system needs urgent overhaul. Ex-MBA President Abba Kuba. Details on page 4. And at the bottom plate of this, Nigeria court remands 52 varsity students, orders over protests in Epoma. Okpebolo condemns attack on Monarch's Palace. You want to know all about it? You go to page 11. Let me quickly go now to the Daily Trust newspaper. And on Daily Trust newspaper, below the masthead, we have defection rumor. Police deploy security at Kano Government House. You find the details on page 11. And the sad story there, generator fumes kills 6 family members in Rivers State. The details on page 4. And the headlines, Katsina, fresh attacks amid bandits release plan. You find all that on page 3. And the picture story there, students resuming for the second term in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT Abuja and Lagos yesterday. And at the bottom plate of the Daily Trust, REA budgets 8.75 billion for projects in MD Power Minister's states. Details on page 19. And 2027, Tambua welcomes foreign intervention for credible polls. Details on page 36. FCTA to spend 73% of 2026 budget on Maitama. Want to know why? You go to page 8. And soldiers deployment for internal security weakening police. That's coming from the former CDS Burate.
All right, let's look at the leadership quickly now. I'd like to begin with the picture story. Quite interesting. Security vehicles, can see them in their numbers, stationed outside the Kano State Government House amid heightened political tension in the state. Interesting times ahead, I'm sure you want to say. Let's look away from that. The major headline on the front page of the leadership this morning says, death of Chimamanda's son. That's the kicker. Lawyers back Agbakoba's call for health regulation overhaul. All of that on page 4. And just looking beside the picture story, police probe death of 6 family members in Rivers. And U.S. revokes over 100,000 visas, including thousands of student permits. That's on page 7. You want to see details of that? That would be an interesting read. And all the way from Benue, we have our clear pending pensions, gratuities this month. But according to Governor Alia, that's on page 6. And Sanwo-Olu Obasanjo mourn as Oba of Badagry dies at 89. All right, in a black strip, of course, Rivers in the news. Fubara Odu served with notices of allegations. Rivers Assembly spokesman is speaking then. That's on page 6. So much about Rivers in the news these days. And, of course, you want to see the update. Above the masthead, Nest Oil, Nakond, Ernest Obiajesi, and Nena Obiajesi's appeals suffer major setback as Supreme Court orders them back to Court of Appeal. And the judge cautions debtors must repay debts rather than file cases. I like that message, and that's on page 7. Let's find out if Chukudi agrees with the judge. Chukudi.
Yes, actually, I was disagreeing with him, you know, 73% of budget in Maitama. But then that's a personal perspective, because the FCT minister and his cabinet, they know where the infrastructure deficit is. It wouldn't be Chukudi who's there in the studio, you know, trying to take a pot shot at anything that people do. That's the job of a journalist anyway. So I was actually looking at it. The judge you're talking about.
But you know, that story is quite interesting.
Yes.
You expect that, you know, places that are not yet developed, that do not have social amenities, where people are crowded, would, you know,
that's where I was
get the
going.
focus.
You know, my Karshi, for instance, I would like the FCT minister to come to that place more. It's just that whatever you do in Karshi now is pushing up rent too much, you know. But you have a point. The hinterland, every place has a hinterland, whether it's Lagos, whether it's Maitama, whether it's Asokoro, you know. So one would have thought that the people who are in the hinterland should get more attention, as Asokoro and Maitama are already highbrow and all that.
Exactly.
But as I said,
And
remember
people who
the
live
minister
there
has agents, has functionaries who see the issues on the ground better than we do.
It's not about seeing the issues. I mean, this is just simple logic. The people who live, who can afford to live in Maitama and all these highbrow areas, if they have issues, right, can actually support government by putting some of those infrastructure in place. Whether it's a pothole on a road, I mean, it can be fixed. But for the average person who earns, I mean, you know, barely nothing, not able to go home with your salary, that's where you need government. You want to see the effect of government, you know, more.
I like when Mary talks with so much passion about, you know.
Yes, I like that too. But
I love that one.
But she's downplaying people like me who are in the hinterland for your information.
I'm not downplaying you.
She's not trying to downplay you. She's trying to say...
AEDC has been taking band A, whatever, from me in terms of power supply. I don't wear my fighting whatever. Okay, she band A, you know.
How can you be in Kashi and be on band A? That is wrong.
I've paid close to 90,000 in the past 1 month, 2 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I think they're talking about day listing. They will eventually get it done. But I'm telling you that I'm also highbrow in Kashi in terms of power supply. So don't look down on me that much. It's not fair. Tension in Kano.
Yes.
Tension in Kano. Now, these are the issues. Does Governor Yusuf and his allies have a right to defect to APC? I don't think there's anything constitutional against that. Is there likely to be political unrest over the defection? It's no longer a rumor. I don't know why one paper talked about, you know, rumors about defection. Yeah. Yes, there is. Kano is a volatile place. And the political gladiators in Kano really fight. Well, not dirty, but they fight hard.
You know, one thing about Kano is, I think it is the only state that has grassroots support. You know, even the man that is selling tomatoes in Kano can tell you what is happening politically.
It's actually the Rainbow Coalition in the north.
Yes, they are aware.
Yes.
You remember during the Aminu Kano and Rimi scandal when they had this
yes.
and Aminu Kano said that Rimi's faction was sleeping.
Even Belare Musa time as well.
Yes, Rimi's faction was sleeping. They called them Santi. And then Rimi now replied that Aminu Kano and his allies are in Tabo, that is the mud. They'll be cut down in the mud. You should have started
by telling us what Santi means.
Santi means slippery.
Okay.
And then Tabo means mud.
Oh, they are all on shore territory.
Yeah. So, Kano politics is different from any other place in this country.
And it's not about going to school, because even those who didn't go to school at all are very, very politically aware because in Kano. The sophistication is unbelievable.
If you go to Kano now, you see more. If you see 100 people, at least 90 have a radio. Listening to news, BBC, Dutch Welle, Voice of America.
More politically aware than some people claim to be graduates on this side.
School. That is the difference.
Yes. And that is awareness people should have. You know?
Okay, let's move away from politics because we know we are now in the season. And in Katsina, unfortunately, fresh attacks amid bandits' release plan.
One of our assistant producers was annoyed. I'm sure he's still annoyed. And I told him that no government would want to release bandits when some of them have killed people. What it tells you, and I don't want to frighten Nigerians, is that the capacity to rein them in is not very much on our side. That is why these negotiations are happening. But actually, I further went on to tell you, we say, okay, you're planning to release, and there are fresh attacks. I said the fresh attacks could actually be you have still not released them. We're coming. It doesn't augur well for our perception of the level of security we are getting.
Sure. So
yeah,
we're talking
it doesn't
of
look well.
we're talking of
so but whatever it takes, save as many lives as you can. If it means negotiating with them, please go ahead and do that. I feel bad to even mention the word. Actually, when the former president, may his soul rest in peace, Buhari, you know, because in his time the release was something that was mind-boggling, you know. I was one of the people who quarreled over it.
Repentant.
Repentant, we gave them the adjective
but you
repentant.
say, Chukwudi,
many of them returned to Sambisa Forest.
In the long run, negotiating with, I mean, terrorists, bandits, whatever it is you call them, would not be good for the country.
That's the American position.
In the long run.
They'll tell you we don't negotiate with them.
Exactly.
Terrorists.
You can't negotiate with them because they'll keep coming for you. Right? So it's better that you try to up your game so you can deal with them.
If you have capacity to deal with them.
I mean,
the Americans have
like
capacity
Nigeria?
to deal with whoever gives them trouble. So we don't negotiate, but subterraneously, they are actually negotiating sometimes. They don't take it hook, line, and sinker, you know. But I get what you mean. It is devastating morally to think that somebody who may have stopped the life out of a few people is eventually going to walk free. But when you don't have
not just
capacity,
walk free, when they walk free, they eventually go back and become
they
stronger.
gather information.
And you know,
some
continue
of them
to
go
cause
back.
problems.
I agree with you. We are on the same page over it. It's just that it also underlies our helplessness sometimes.
We're helpless.
You know,
yes.
I pray that the security forces are able to cope better. You know, they need more boots on the ground and more equipment, particularly communication gadgets. Drones should be doing the war more than boots on the ground now. These bandits have their camps, known camps. Well, the possibility of collateral damage is there because they have wives and children as well.
In a war situation.
But when you are with a criminal, sometimes people look the other way when you die with a criminal.
Exactly.
You know?
You know,
we're talking, okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, well, anyways, the security crisis is a big one. The medical crisis.
Yes,
is
that's
also
where I was
another
going
issue.
to, yes. Nigeria's healthcare system needs urgent overhaul.
Yes.
It's a fact.
Did it need the death of Chimamanda's son for the intervention from my darling, my dear Amakoba to come? But I'm happy he's talking. We mentioned the same thing just the other day. I said, when I get to a hospital where I've been taking somebody in the past 2 years, 6 months, I find myself making peace between patients and hospital staff. Initially, I was one of the people who say, you can't do this to us. All the torrential. Till I found out these people had their back against the wall. That is the truth. Go and check the government hospitals, how many X-ray units are working, apart from the ones in the trauma unit. I am telling you the truth. So something needs to be done. When you never sick, you're not going to know what they talk.
Yes, sir.
But when you get onto a hospital premises, you'll come out and say, Father, I am sorry, I'm complaining. Now, so life be. When it happens to another man, it seems it's happening to a tree in the forest. It's unfortunate.
We're always affected.
We are always affected.
Even if not directly.
Exactly. You're going to be one of the people to send money remotely to that person who is craving for health facilities that
Okay,
are not
quickly before we go, court remands 52 varsity students' orders over protests in Epoma. Pebble condemns attack on Monarch's Palace.
It's the attack on Monarch's Palace that makes me think that these students may have taken it a bit too far. What did the king have to do with it? I don't quite understand. The days of student aluta continua, that means vandalism, I thought
are you sure the students are the ones who carried out the attack on the Monarch's Palace?
She's from Edo State.
No, I'm just asking.
Yes.
It's important that we confirm. You know.
It's
so
okay.
You don't
okay.
Just like
she's talking.
Just like the way thugs and miscreants took over the end.
She's talking.
The same thing can
She's
happen.
talking like a journalist. I agree. We are here. Our time is up. We'll argue that next time. Why did you start the protest if you knew you could not control the people who were going to be hoodlums?
Okay.
Many thanks, Chukwudi, for your time today. Of
As
course,
always, it's a pleasure.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
The feeling is mutual.
All right, so we'll pause now. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get into our conversation for today. Please remain tuned.
TerraCube. Unwrap joy. Unleash taste.
From breaking news to heartwarming stories, NTA remains Nigeria's trusted voice. To our partners, government agencies, corporate bodies, political parties, and religious institutions, thank you. And to our millions of viewers, you are the reason we serve. Through every moment, big and small, we tell Nigeria's story with pride, balance, and integrity. As the new year begins, expect more, better programs, innovative storytelling, clearer signals, and fantastic broadcast deliveries that meet global standards. Together, we move forward with stories that matter. Nigerian Television Authority, Africa's largest network. You can't beat the reach.
Let's go, darling.
Say what?
I like what I see. Can't get enough of me. I feel like a darling. I feel like a darling.
Darling braids. Wear the latest styles that make you feel like a darling.
Once upon a time, there was a land plagued by blandness. Food had lost its flavor and there was nothing left to savor. Just then, the tastemaker arrives to restore taste to this land of blandness. All she did was sprinkle, stir, and serve. And from that day on, they knew one truth. All they need is sprinkle, stir, serve.
Tastemaker.
It's time to honor the bravery and sacrifice of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Join us for the 2026 Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day. His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, and Grand Patron of the Nigerian Legion, invites you to a series of events as we mark 2026 Armed Forces Celebration and Remembrance Day from January 9th to January 15th, 2026. Monday, January 12th, National Symposium Lecture at the Defense College, Abuja, 10 a.m. Tuesday, January 13th, dinner and award night at the Banquet Hall, Presidential Villa, Abuja, 7 p.m. Wreath laying ceremony will take place on Thursday, January 15th, 8 a.m. at the National Arcade, Abuja. Let us come together to celebrate our compatriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation. Join us in appreciating the Nigerian Armed Forces. Announcer Richard Filagwa, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense.
The world needs moms. With a splash of golden terra oil, a mom can transform a frown into a smile. Change no thanks into yes please. Resolve family feuds without blowing a whistle. Providing tasty family meals is all that matters. Where there are moms, there is love. Golden Terra Oil, pour pure love.
Africa, a land of passion, pride, and power. Across this vast continent, the game runs deep. In every back alley, beach, and pitch, 1 billion hearts beat to one rhythm, the Africa Cup of Nations. We remember the kings of Cairo, when Zambia shocked the world, when Nigeria soared, the dreamers of Yaoundé, when Senegal stood tall. Last time, the elephants rose. From the thunder of Casablanca to the lights of Marrakesh, the stage is set in Morocco. This is where the past meets the present, where new stories begin. 24 nations, one trophy, but no script.
Oh, what a strike!
The drums return. The ground shakes. The continent rises. This is AFCON 2025.
32 matches, every Super Eagles game, all live.
This is ours.
Afro Sport, your freedom of sport.
Thanks for joining us, and you're watching Good Morning Nigeria. And report just reaching us indicates that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has arrived venue of the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week Summit. State House correspondent Musbah Wahab reports that the annual summit is kicking off with the opening ceremony this Tuesday morning in the United Arab Emirates capital city. President Tinubu is leading the Nigerian delegation, which includes Ministers of Finance, Wale Edu, and Doris Anete, Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Jumoke Oduwole, Governor, Central Bank of Nigeria, Yemika Dosso, among others. The Nigerian president is attending the annual event for the second time on the invitation of the host president, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The theme of the summit is the nexus of next, all systems go, aimed at finding measurable solutions to sustainability issues around the world. We'll bring you more details in subsequent bulletins on NTA, and we'll now take the background report to push this conversation from our correspondent, Ibrahim Bello Kunta.
The federal government of Nigeria launched a comprehensive initiative to enhance digital literacy and skills among Nigerians, which includes a training and certification programs aimed at boosting knowledge of Nigerians on digital literacy and other emerging technology skills. The initiative aligns with the digital transformation agenda of the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy, with target of achieving 95% digital literacy by the year 2030. The program covers various aspects of digital literacy, including the use of digital tools like artificial intelligence, expected to positively contribute to the country's economic growth. The federal government of Nigeria, through the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy document, has set a target of achieving 95% digital literacy by 2030. The vision is to build a digital literacy Nigeria where all citizens can improve their lives and contribute to national development by committing to the promotion of digital literacy as a cornerstone of empowering citizens to embrace emerging technology with confidence. Thus, the National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDDA, the Apex IT agency responsible for the development regulation of the sector in Nigeria, has taken up the responsibility to lead the development of a national digital literacy framework. A digital literacy standard for Nigeria will prepare Nigerians to meet the challenge of inadequacies in digital literacy and skills acquisition, combined with a call to action of appropriate measures, and with an investment of energy and adequate resources, it can help create the world's most digitally skillful nation. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation recently inaugurated the Joint Implementation Committee on the National Conference on Digital Literacy and launch of Clergy World Digital Skill Nigeria initiative, all with the view to fully key in Nigeria. How can Nigeria fully align with digital literacy and emerging skills? What are the benefits and opportunities provided by digital skills? And how can Nigerians key into digital literacy and emerging skills to change the narrative around unemployment and economic development? These and more are some of the questions guests on Good Morning Nigeria will find answers to as we discuss digital literacy and emerging skills.
Many thanks, Ibrahim Bello Gunda, for that background report. Now joining us for the conversation on implementing digital literacy and emerging skills in Nigeria. It's a pleasure to have with us Rosemary Oshikoya, Deputy National Coordinator, Clergy Wealth Cooperative Initiative, and former Commissioner for Education, Kogi State. Many thanks for joining us, ma'am.
Good morning, Nigeria. Thank you for having me here again today.
Welcome. And also here is Dr. Niron Oyekale, Chairman, Commit Technology and Consult, an advocate for digital literacy. It's a warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigerians, as usual.
It's good to see compliments of the season. And still joining us here in the studio is Bayo Mohammed Onimode, FNCS, Chairman, Conferences Committee Nigeria Computer Society, NCS. It's good to have you join us.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigeria.
Thank you so much for coming. Okay, let's begin with Madame now this morning. We all know that the world is changing. You understand, it's now all about skills. It's all about digital knowledge and all that. So can you tell us now, what does digital literacy mean in practical terms for Nigeria? Let's talk about it.
The first thing, we've always talked about literacy. The last time we were talking about learning poverty,
Yeah.
I think it's important for us to embrace the fact that digital literacy is the new literacy. I mean, if you open social media at all, the first thing that comes slapping you is whether you know AI or you don't know AI. And then we begin to have this phobia about our jobs being replaced. I think recently there's this thing in Dubai that is amazing. How you would just put your head into a machine and then
shave your hair.
Shaved, It's saying that, from the point of view where we're thinking digital literacy is all about programming.
Yes.
You have to be a nerd, so you have to know how to program and code the C++ like Bio and the like would like to tell us. So saying that digital literacy actually makes our life easier because it's computer aiding everything you do in life. And that excites me because I've been an advocate for vocational skills. And most often we think that it's only our children in bourgeois schools who do extra computer programming after school hours. And I don't know about you, but we get to pay a lot for all of that.
Of course, especially coding.
Exactly. But a very practical example that got my attention was we had this National Swing Championship boot camp last August. And then somebody, the head of ICT for National Commission for Colleges of Education, came and is teaching artisans how to take your body measurements and have computer assist you in designing clothes. I mean, that blew my mind. That I haven't seen that conversation. So I think the conversation of digital literacy is saying we're talking about how you have to learn things, how you have to get life easier across all occupational space. And digital literacy is that new skill that makes your everyday work becomes more improved. And when we start talking about how this is not so esoteric and how this is everyday, I think it's easier for us to understand that I can as well carry my simple body measurements as an artisan, and then I could actually get the computer and certain programs to make my life easier. If I am a teacher and I'm in the smart space and we're talking about how our schools have to be smart, then there are basic skills that are computer driven or associated with technology that could make your life easier. I think that is the simplest way of saying that we live in a world where the new language is just, can you use computer? Not just about using one finger to type, but there are other aspects of it across different domains of that space that makes our everyday and professional skills easier to do. And that new language is called digital literacy.
Digital literacy. Fantastic. Many thanks, Madam Oshikoya. But I would like you to speak to us about what this initiative, the Clergy Wealth Digital Literacy and Artisan Project is all about. What you aim to achieve with that?
Okay. Everybody has been in the digital space. I think with the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu government, last year, everywhere is awashed. I mean, you wake up and then it's either one ministry or one MDA, and suddenly you begin to wonder if digital is the only space. But then you will find that between all the big programming language, there is still the baseline introductory, like we said, the emerging skills components. There is still this baseline perspective. And so Clergy Wealth is a cooperative society, as you would know, but then it has a lot of new innovations to that. And part of what solutions they have, primarily building on two domains, if you allow me to observe, is the fact is one is digital literacy. At the basic of conceptual skills, at the basis of saying that it is not just about going to learn a skill, but are you internationally standardized? And so the question of standardization through international certification exam came in. And so the language is Certiport. That Certiport is an international certification exam for people in digital literacy. It makes you able to have job abroad. And so we bought into that. And the idea is the target is 1 million Nigerians. And this is like a project. If you look at it from a humanitarian point of view, it is a project to say we want to help Nigeria and we also want to contribute to the goals of digital literacy. But not just that alone. But when you look at the scope of the digital literacy emerging skills we are talking about, particularly, you begin to see that there are also artisanic, you know, the small and medium scale enterprise one. So whether you are benefiting the individual at the level of the individual, or you are leveraging on a larger goal, so there's also an artisanic program involved. And I'm happy that the president also have articulated that very well in youth empowerment, in saying that in youth empowerment, we are looking a whole lot of all that. So in collaboration with the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation is this collaboration plan of, we want to reach 1 million Nigerian youths with digital literacy, not just youths alone, but professional and artisans, and that roadmap is there. And at the end of these trainings, these beneficiaries will take the international certification exam. And in addition to that, the question of access, because you can't say you know how to do digital without a tool to go with that. And so the one that everybody hear about, the 1 million computers that would have to be given out to those at the completion of what that is. But in addition, the conference would also avail the opportunity to launch the artisan projects. Because if you look at it, a lot has not been said about the artisan framework in Nigeria. Most people's mind goes around, and a bit of that we've done also. And I'm happy that Clergy Wealth is taking over the National Swing Championship support for this year, with a little addition that other than just come and give everybody a tool and leave them to go, how about the context of mentoring, of group collaboration, of how about just looking at how you would give SME complete support to those who would qualify. And then you're saying that you're not just giving the person one sewing machine and say bye-bye, but you are actually looking at a period where through the platform of the cooperative, you're looking at commodities. How do you help them assess the capital and everything they need to actually set up? So the concept of the Clergy Wealth Artisan Craft Village comes up again, that you're saying holistically and integratedly, where the two platforms we are looking at for now is, you said, the digital literacy on the one side, the artisanic supports you would give for the various people in the craft. For instance, pick one which is very dear to our hearts. In addition to the sewing components, you would have the truck thing. Like in Canada, there's an innovation that Clergy Wealth has been involved in that is also very beautiful, where you see as simple as truck driving is, you know, it becomes very important if you say that how many professional truck drivers do you have that meet international certification. So we are holistically looking at this package. On the one side is the beneficiaries from the digital literacy who would come from across all of Nigeria. But bottom line, we are looking at sustainable skills development in a way that is both technical, professional, and in the way that is also everyday. And if you look at that, the target of Nigeria presently, we're told we needed to be able to reach about 93% of our population in digital literacy. So if you take out that 1 million target we are looking at, I think it's to also encourage every other person to say, together everybody can address that, but we should have a holistic, integrated approach to that. And Dr. Nero is also a consultant on that project, as we are having that, and I'm happy that we are also, the partnership is holistic, because not only are you having the government on the one side through the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, we also have the Nigerian Computer Society is also with us and all that. The idea is to say, this is not an ad hoc initiative. This is actually targeted, and hopefully it will be the beginning of so much of the platform that needed to be done, complementing government's efforts in that space.
Complementing government efforts. My question is, why the collaboration?
Well, I've won all the different...
Because you are funding everything. The government is just giving you the platform.
Yes.
We want Nigerians to understand that the government is not contributing to the funds. You are bringing the funds, but government is giving you the platform to do it.
In fact, you know, most good ideas in Nigeria fail, if you agree with me. Partly because we get into the conversation about enabling business environments. You get into the space about corruptive influences that sabotage the whole process. And there have been, I've worked on both sides. I've worked on both the side of government and the side of private entrepreneurs, and you've seen all the bottleneck. For instance, I'll give you one. The National Swing Championship started with the approval of UNESCO. And in the past 3 years, we have done about 3 spaces of that. I could tell you the bottleneck in trying to reach state players, in trying to get governments to buy in.
Subnationals.
Exactly. And a whole lot of all that. And I want to say this is where I am very excited about the national conference and the Clergy Wealth Digital Literacy Academy, that we are actually addressing some of those bottlenecks. That where, you know, these governments have been so very expressive about wanting to reach Nigeria, wanting to cut out the barriers, wanting to bring in an effective public-private partnership. And the point made from the beginning, which I am excited about that, is the fact that this is at no cost to the government, because I've read some of the contributions in the social media, and everybody would want to insult the government and said, we know this is a scam, we know this is not coming up, we know the government has never promised, and I'm happy you're raising that up. That the whole domain is, can we not all actually make Nigeria a better place? Because why do we pick up an initiative and do that? The collaboration framework we have is, to the one I can recall, yes, the chairman of the Joint Implementation Committee, and that's the idea of the Joint Implementation Committee, that you don't want this to flop along the line. You want to have both governments at the federal and at the state level being players. You're also bringing in professionals. You're bringing in the relevant MDAs, because I know the Federal Ministry of Education is there, the Ministry of Youth is there as well, the Federal Ministry of Communications is there, even NIDA is there, you know. And so I'm excited that you're bringing in a cross-section of the people who are relevant. And so when we looked at this package and we said this is what it is, and the implementation, and I honestly want to thank the permanent secretary of the OSGF office, because the needed leadership guidance, they have provided it up to this point, and it is very proactive. I think this is the new Nigeria we're talking about.
Fantastic.
You know,
Many thanks.
An effective collaboration that would work in the line of results, and that's part of what we're putting out. Real results, real numbers, real project methodologies, and saying that this is actually verifiable, and we're saying that it is accessible, in the sense that you don't need to know somebody to be a part of this.
All right.
You just need to go through the process, and then at the end of the day, the same way that we're expecting that His Excellency will flag off the commencement of the activity through the launch, the official launch, is the same way at a particular time within this year that will be set, everybody will come and actually see that this is time bound. It's not about 20 years, it's about specific months, and it's about people really seeing the outcome.
All right, talking about people seeing the outcome, many thanks, Madam Oshikoya, you know, for that, you know, comment about all of this. Very interesting, I must say. You say 1 million Nigerians, that is huge. Someone would say it's ambitious. Yeah, more on the artisan level. I'd like to get to Dr. Oyekali now. 1 million Nigerians, digital literacy. You want to ask, there's so many issues that can, you know, make that not come to reality. Speak to us about what the plan is, really. You know, she's talking about real numbers, all of this being verifiable, and all of that. What's the plan on the table, really, about how you want to recruit those who participate in this initiative, how you intend to ensure that it is properly executed, and what is the time frame, like Madam Oshikoya tried to mention?
Thank you very much. You see, first of all, I want to let Nigerians understand one thing, like the issue of digital literacy one and emerging skills, then the issue of careers. So people are asking questions. Can I be involved? Can I benefit from this kindness of a clergy-led cooperative society? You know, coming out for the first time in history, it's unprecedented that a private organization, come to think of it, a cooperative society, you say, go, I want to damp the consequences. I want to reset Nigeria, because this program will actually reset Nigeria. That is the most important thing I've seen, you know, as the outcome of this program. So, you see, careers today, who will benefit first? Careers today are just on two pathways. It's either you're on IT or on IT supported. So with this, people should have, you know, should calm down and have a rest of mind that every Nigerian could benefit from this program. So that is one. Then secondly is the issue of how do we intend to go about this? Fine. One, clergy-led cooperative society is a society, and it will be very, very impossible for clergy to now start to embark on training of Nigerians. So the idea is this, that there will be a bidding process after the unveiling of the project that will, you know, seek for, interest from training providers. There are training providers in Nigeria, but not everybody will be qualified. There will be a set of criteria that will be rolled out. These providers will have to indicate, they express their interest in becoming part of the exercise. We are looking at having between 300 and 500 training providers who will be able to meet
across
up.
the country, or just in one location?
No, across the country, across all the 774 local governments. So about 500 of them. We are targeting a provider. We'll be able to train, say, minimum at about 2,000 Nigerians, because this is time bound. The program will run for like between 6 and 8 months, right? But that is on the side of the provider. Then what about the beneficiaries? The beneficiaries will have to be ready, buckle our shoes now, and be ready to compete, because the era of what do you call it, political personality, this person going through the back door to become a beneficiary, no, it's gone. So we're going to subject about 1,500,000 Nigerians to a baseline assessment, because the funders have done very well, and Nigerians must not disappoint. We will not want to condone with time wasters, people that will register today and drop out tomorrow. Somebody will just think, oh, I want to come, pick the laptops and go. No. And that was, Honorable Oshika mentioned one thing, that yes, there will be tools. The tool is serving as an incentive, that if you are able to go through the routes, there are about 6 programs, 6 levels of competence that Nigerians will be exposed to. It is at the end of that that you have that incentive, the laptop. So
6 levels of competence in just 6 months?
6 months. 6 levels of competence. What do I mean?
So are you recruiting beginners? Because I'm wondering how you want to achieve that massive program in just 6 months if they are beginners.
That is why we're saying we're going to recruit or bring in about 500.
Train the trainer.
500 training outfits, training providers.
Okay.
Right, sir? 500 training providers will be recruited. That is one.
About the training methodology.
No, now.
How they will be trained within the 6 months.
That is what I want to go into now. One, there are 6 programs. The very first programs will take like 10 days, and that is the IC3 digital literacy. 10 days of extensive training and certification exams. 3 exams will be conducted in 1 day, right? So that will take 5 days of training, 1 day of remediation, 1 day of personal, because you don't need to cram anything. Everything is hands-on. It's what you'll be able to do at the end of the whole thing. So you are not, going to spend hours, weeks reading. No. For that 1 week, you are loaded with the skills that will enable you to compete for anything in the world. So go for the certification exams. At the end of that, we move to another competence level. That is the critical career skills level. This is all about the communication skills, collaboration skills, creativity, critical thinking, generative AI, right? So that would be, we go into hybrid mode then. Self-paced learning, supported with remediation virtual classes, at least 3 times a week. So for 3 weeks, this will run. You need to put your time into best use. Then the last week of that month will be for exams, certification exams. So after that, we move.
So technically, you'll be training the 1 million people at the same time. Do you have enough trainers who are qualified in all these skills to train 1 million people?
Thank you very much. See, that is why we're bringing in 500, at least 500 training providers. One of the conditions is they must have minimum of 10 certified personnel. Mind you, when we go into the most most difficult part of the training is that first level training. But when you go into the second level, which is self-paced, you only need 1 instructor is enough to take care of so many people online. Now that we are not even talking of 1 provider, we're talking about 500 providers at the same time. And mind you again, nobody is saying the 2,000 people will be trained at the same time, right? But for a person, an individual, it will take that one person a length of like that 6 months to be able to cover up. Self-paced.
Okay, self-paced.
So a provider can decide to go on a cohort of, let's say, 50, 100 per, per batch, right? So immediately you are through with, this batch is done with the first one, they move. Why this one moves, and that people, come in. So that is it. Nobody is saying we want the best. We want Nigeria to have.
From an education point of view, if you've
Yes.
taken part in online training and self-paced training, you would find that people's rates of accomplishments are different. Some persons are, sometimes if you've actually subscribed to some self-paced training, you will find that the onus is now on you, which is where we're talking about the ownership of the individual, where the baseline comes in. That I would have to say I am willing and able to devote a part of my time, whether it is finding additional means of livelihood or whichever. But again, it's not rocket science like you are saying. The average person, if you are a student and you have a lot of, you remember from COVID-19, a lot of learning has gone virtual. And so if you're looking at people of a particular age group, that wouldn't be a problem. But then you find in today's world also, there's a lot of virtual work that's happening, even within our workspace, thanks to COVID-19. So it is not as virgin platform baseline as you're saying, because you would find that conceptually, everybody has a bit of an idea once you have gone through education at a base. But now bringing everyone into the domain of continuing education, I'm happy we are using the word education in this
Of course,
context.
we have to learn and relearn.
Exactly.
Okay, let's pause you there and bring in Bayo Mohammed into your chairman conferences committee, Nigeria Computer Society. We're talking about 1 million Nigerians, and want to know who gets in. I've not finished.
Okay.
Who gets in? It's supposed to be 6 to 8 months. And I would like you also to talk, because you talked about the educational aspect. How ready is Nigeria's education system to integrate emerging digital skills like AI, coding, and all that for our students? Because we are looking at the future. It's the future we're planning for now. We're not going backwards. We're talking of the future. And this generation are asking for more opportunities to be able to achieve and be at par with other age mates across the world.
Right, thank you very much. So I will start with a bit of background. So Nigerian Computer Society made up of IT professionals, over 20,000 of us in Nigeria, and of course growing. And of course I would say we're very excited to be part of this partnership that's a public-private partnership. And of course, like the government said, we're not putting in a dime. So as professionals, we are not putting in the money, but we're putting in our time and our ideas to make this work. Now, looking at it population-wise, Nigerians have over 200 million people. Over 70% of these people are under 30. So they are the energetic people, the people who are ready to go. Now, the drive is to make Nigeria to become that skill export hub, what the India was in the 90s, and now you now see a lot of talent and grown and all of that.
Yes.
So now what you also must not miss is that currently there are lots of Nigerians who have acquired skills who are working within Nigeria. And that's why you look at even our current tax amendment that is saying, you know what, you can be in Nigeria and work, but pay. Because they know that a whole lot of people are doing that and they're earning their living. Probably don't even step out of a house any day. It's not rocket science to say we are ready to go. So as from the professional point of view, look at the trainers that they talked about. Most of the people are also our members too, who are saying we have the pool of people to train. Now, for us as professional body, we're not just part of a program because we want to be part of it. We've also examined all the pillars of that. So we've looked at the criteria for even selecting people to be participants in this program. And I can say we're very convinced that, yes, if truly followed, and we are very sure that it will be followed to the latter, a lot of Nigerians, the son of nobody, will be part of the beneficiaries.
What's the criteria?
Oh, well, part of it first is that you must have the tools to use.
Like?
Probably your phone, your computer, you must have internet. Now, if you relate this to what the government has been doing in terms of laying 90,000 kilometers of fiber. I'm sure if you live in some part of town, you notice that recently you have more fiber in your area, so it makes
internet. I use fiber.
Yeah, do you understand?
What's the age bracket?
Well, for age bracket, we're looking at a minimum of 18 and above. So from
above, no limit?
Now it's your availability. I mean, initially you talk about how available are you? Because we are not saying, we don't, like Dr. Lena said, we're bringing in 1.5 million people to be subjected to various selection criteria, after which we now come down to that 1 million, right? Now, so the age, of course, the availability, the tools to use, and of course, if you're currently working, right, will you be able to participate? Is a two-way thing. Two-way thing because you must assure us that you have the time to be part of this program, right? We don't just want people who just want to take space. And like Dr. Lena said, we're not just enrolling you and then give you the tools to go. No. So at every stage of the training, you are subjected to tests. So if you pass, you move. If you pass, you move. So we may actually end up not, having the whole 1 million people pass through all of this. But one thing we're very sure is that substantially, at least over 80%, we'll be able to finish all the stages of the training and certification.
You said 18 and above. Yeah. Why can't we catch them young?
Yeah, so
why must they be 18 and above? Why can't we catch them young when their brain is still fresh?
No, conceptually,
yes.
People of school age are part of that. And so we're actually targeting people in secondary school also. Yeah. Forgive the baseline, the committee has just had one meeting, so we are bringing everybody on board with where we are. The targeted stakeholders, as we have them, include people in secondary school. Because you would find right now, that is the IT savvy one. A lot of them are already doing coding and programming, and a whole lot of them are already strong in that space. So that barrier in terms of 18 is not quite it. But then when we were doing this, because I'm happy, this is part of what the Joint Implementation Committee will be discussing later this week. If you look at the participant disaggregation in the proposal that was conceptualized, you would find that the fact that the person is in a formal school or non-formal school, that's usually my thing, this out-of-school children thing, or out-of-school youth is also not a barrier. You would find there are people who supposedly have dropped out of formal education somewhere along the line. But they have, exactly. You would find that they are the Yahoo boys on the streets, and they are the ones who are the ones doing all the hacks and what you're saying. Like Nero had said, if you look at people basically in IT and IT supported, you will find that all of us find a space over there. So for instance, the participants at the national conference we're looking at, which is the beginning of that, the unveiling of all of that, the participants actually has been disaggregated into covering all facets.
You already have participants?
Yes. We have benchmarked the participants for the national conference. Don't forget that's the first place. There's going to be an official unveiling by His Excellency, the President, or the Secretary to the Government. And in that unveiling is the 2-day national conference we're talking about. That's where this whole journey starts. And that is why the Joint Implementation Committee is there.
So how did you get your participants? Is there a website?
How did you get
1 million?
How will we get it? Because the committee has just started its work. And the benchmarking of who would be there is the disaggregated one. Who are the people? One, you have government and policymakers in ICT related. Nigeria is regulated. And so you'll find that there's been national conference on digital literacy. There are policy documents a lot of persons know, and some may not even be aware. When you have a national conference, that is why you have this conversation. You engage the issues and how that is there. But who should be there? Start again with how do we get the 300 to 500 persons who would be at the national conference? I will start with the federal. The federal would have the VVIPs, those who made those laws and those governments as we have them. And of course, the formal launch of this project will be done by His Excellency, the President. That is the target. And then when he has that, you would have this head of parastatals, give them, that is one group. But then you have the federal MDAs. Like I said, the Federal Ministry of Science and Tech. This is when you're complementing government office, it's not a competition and it's not duplicity. We're saying we are creating the harmony. So you would have that still at that conference will be people at that top government federal level. But you said this is going to happen at the state level, right? And so it means that the states are also participants.
How easy is it going to be?
Yes, because
the subnationals to keep
because that is why the federal, the secretary to the federal, the secretary to the government of the federation is involved, because at the state counterpart level you have the secretaries to the state governments, and then so when you are inviting governments to say something is happening in your backyard, government needs to have a seat over there. So at the conference, all the 36 states and the FCT will be represented.
Away from the conference, don't you think that there's going to be inequality in all of this? Looking at the criteria that you have mentioned earlier, you talked about access to digital tools, whether it be it a phone albeit a computer. You talked about internet coverage. We know that some rural areas who still do not have enough.
Then I would ask you a question. How do we do jobs?
Excuse me, just a point.
Let me come into
that. Electricity is also going to be a challenge. You talked about being available. So, I mean, if you don't have electricity for a number of days, how are you able to, you know,
conceptually, right now, a lot of Nigerian exams are written virtually.
Yes.
I would say WAEC, for instance, JAMB, another. The big question is, do we not have this computer hardware in places? You know, I love the fact that we're saying one level of participation is your personal device. But then the second level of intervention would be that you have access to cyber cafes, business centers, and because you know that registration for WAEC, NECO, and a whole lot of all that, are they not being done presently? And so you find, if you look at the big numbers that take this exam, this 1 million is just a far cry from the existing number. So I think the conception that Nigeria is deficit in terms of hardware or personal devices is not very, very true. Then again, you look at it this way. Look at the, let me use FCT as an example. The FCT, I'm not talking of the Department of Science and Tech that has its own ICT and the whole, all of them. Just sitting here in FCT, pick all the area councils, the Department of Mass Education has a computer lab in the FCT.
When you compare this program with exams, you know, the likely response from a critic will be that exams happen, say, in a day for the JAMB you talked about. For the WAEC or whatever, probably just a few days, maybe 6-7 days, depending on the number of papers you're writing. This is a 6 months program.
But do you know 6 to 8 months?
Let me come into this.
Just a minute. This is a 6 months program. And of course, if you want to, I mean, for a fresh beginner, you would need to commit more time and all of that to the study of this stuff and all. And you need more time with the internet and
data,
the whole program, data and all. So how do you expect the average Nigerian to be able to meet up with this and to be available all through to the end of the program?
See, right? This program is not a one-off thing, right? Okay. It's going to be continuous.
Self-paced.
No, apart from it is not ending this year, right? After this 1 million, other millions will still follow. That is one. In fact, I've received calls from Nigerians because it's like Clergy has challenged Nigerians that they can do better than they were doing. Many of them are now willing to come on board and say, okay, you'll be shocked, madam, that on the day of the unveiling, some people will come out and say, okay, in addition to this 1 million, I'm doing this again, another million.
But to speak to the issue of access.
So that is one. Then two, don't forget, we're talking of 1 million out of about 230 million. If you are fortunate to be selected after the baseline assessment, mind you, what you are assessing, what about $7,000?
No, Nero, you are distracting from the issue of access. Because, sorry, let's go back to the issue of access and the hardware to answer that question. You remember he said something about service providers. And we said that the process of engaging service providers, because we need to underscore this fact. The fact is, number one, the training, the computer, and all of that process is free to the beneficiary. That point must be made.
It's free.
It's free to the beneficiary. The beneficiary is not paying for it.
Including data?
Yeah, this is where we are going. If service providers are available close to you, like we said, I wouldn't want to speak for the Joint Implementation Committee because this conversation is part of what has been scheduled for discussing at that level. And all of these questions would actually be unveiled. That is why the official launch is important. The 2-day national conference, which government itself will flag off, because all this nitty-gritty, that is why, you know, for a good implementation of such a program, we're talking about there will be frequently asked questions, there will be answers provided for all of those ones. So the information, public education, communication materials, all the IEC materials would have been ready by the official launch. And which is why, you know, all the news that has been said is to say the Joint Implementation Committee for the national conference, where all of these issues and more will be unveiled and discussed, and the project will be formally launched, would be happening at that time. But I think at this point it suffices to say that all these issues, you know, the questions of access, the question of what would it cost me, like we said, if you are able to have access because you prefer a personal device by yourself, that would be fine. If you have a phone that could do a bit of that, that would be fine. Knowing very well that part of the criteria for you to enroll in a digital literacy primarily is that you are not disadvantaged by access. And you would agree again that possibly as a supporting private sector stakeholder, there would be just so much limitation you could do. You cannot promise the assurance of all the structures, which is why, again, we go back to why there's a partnership collaboration. But from the much that I know in education, and from what I have seen in particularly, there are a lot of innovation centers we have not known. Well, there are a lot of innovation, education initiatives around there, the cyber cafes, a lot of them actually, it will impress you to know. Maybe, you know, sometimes if you don't have this conversation, you don't see the things in your neighborhood. You will find that now Nigerians will begin to pay attention to what is going on in my backyard. How many cyber cafes exist? How many? And when the launch is done, and these are all unveiled, you would find actually that anyone who enroll, our target is 100%.
Okay,
100% is 1 million. Finish at the end
we need
of
to
this
pause
year.
you there. So Dr. Diran can
yes, you see, you are talking of self-paced learning.
Okay.
Right? How will you embark on the self-paced learning or succeed without you having your personal gadget? Right? And access to one. So it's a condition. You know, I was trying to say, if you are lucky to be selected, you will do everything possible to ensure that you have access to one. Because who will provide you 24 hours access to gadgets? No. So it's a condition that if we are providing this thing for free, then you must help yourself to have internet access at home. But for the exam, for other things, yes, we provide that. But for yourself, for self-paced learning, self-studying and everything, so you must have that.
So that's my question, really. Doesn't that lead to inequality? Because, I mean, people who live in urban areas, people who are privileged, are likely going to be able to provide some of those things you're talking.
You know, the cyber cafes will be paid by clergy wealth.
Okay, Mohammed, how do
it will be free to the person? And so, you know, if the cyber cafe is engaged to provide a service, I would ask you one question. When you go to school and possibly you are learning online and you have access to these materials, you would have to have said, I am creating this time, you know, 2 hours per day, 3 hours per day, in which if you are enrolled, the package would have taken care of that. You are getting the idea. But would you also be able to do self-assisted practice? You know, that's another domain of this conversation. And so, like we said, I wouldn't want to preempt what the baseline assessment test is about, because there has to be an eligibility criteria. I prefer to call it an eligibility criteria, because so if I just wake up, you know, most times these are the people that contribute to the high dropout rates. But all we are doing is to safeguard and minimize as much as possible these incidents. But to cut away from this conversation, when we said we want to reach a finishing rate of 1 million, it is a finishing rate of 1 million, not 80%. Not 90%, 100%. 100%. And so if the eligibility criteria, which we are strengthening at the level of the Joint Implementation Committee, I said it was just last week the Joint Implementation Committee was inaugurated, so we cannot preempt the extent to which all of these proving system
which technically means that you're not focused on equal spread across the country.
No.
What is important is that you have 1 million.
No, that's not
irrespective of the region.
And the capacities, I would ask you that question again. Is the capacity of a commercial town like Lagos, a capital city like Abuja, and that of Port Harcourt. So you will see that on the spread of the country, you know, there is a natural disaggregation between where you have high density, where you have high urbanization. But so let's not bring in something.
So how do you bridge it?
Yes, exactly.
How do you bridge it?
Not from a political point of view. Sorry, let me speak to the politics of this.
How do you bridge it?
The politics of this is not giving Nigerians a tool that says Kogi State will have the same number as Port Harcourt. No. When you say there's equal access, when you say there's equal opportunity, what you are simply saying is there is this benchmark and everyone is encouraged to meet it. Not lowering because you want to say you have every other one. But the thing you would also agree is that with everybody, I love this thing about milestone development psychology. Every child at a particular stage has the same potential. And so when you say, I want you to step up to this, you are actually challenging the individual. And you agree with me that in talent, you know, when you say you are doing talent hunting, which is part of where you say, why is Clergy-Well talking about competition? Why is Clergy-Well focusing on National Sewing Championship competition as a platform for nurturing identification? I think we're getting to a phase where it is not about who you are, it's about what you can do and the competencies and the capacity you have. These will be the drivers of the Nigerian economy today and tomorrow. And the argument would be irrespective of where you are. When the opportunity is provided, when the government, when his presidency has flagged off and said, now whistle blown, everybody on your march, get set, go. Nigerians should be ready to plug in. Okay. And when that plugging in is done, we would come back not with the lenses of ethnic and religious differences, but with the understanding that, or gender. Because we're saying, let the conference come. You see why the conference is important? Because every stakeholder group and age group are represented. Okay. And then we take it from there.
Okay. I will want our viewers to, I'm sure you want to know so much from our guests here in the studio. We want you to send in your comments and questions. We'll be waiting. Some have been coming in now. And Bayo Mohammed, you know, how would success be measured, you know, beyond the number of people trained here? So,
for us and for this project, the success will be 1 million people enrolled, 1 million people are trained, 1 million people take the exam, they graduate, and they have the tools to work with. And then in measuring this over time, we're also able to check to say, of these our numbers, how many people now have access to international jobs while sitting in that village, somewhere in Kogi State, somewhere in Jigawa State, somewhere in Sokoto State, to be sure that in this, because again, when I listen to her, I'm actually surprised to think that we don't have the access all over Nigeria. That's not entirely correct. You will be shocked to know how many people, if you go deep, and of course these figures are also available out there, to know how many people are digitally empowered in different parts of the country. The people in Abuja may be politically, you know, losing focus on what is happening in those locations. But professionally, we are saying in all of these locations that you termed hinterland, these people are doing a lot, and they have a lot of success stories to tell. So for us, it will be for us to measure over time to say how many of these people that have gone through all of these processes are making real impact, how many of them are earning money, and of course, above all, contributing to national development through paying their taxes as well.
Yeah. Because we can see, you can.
In addition to that, it is not compulsory that after the training, everybody should take to white-collar jobs, this. And that's why entrepreneurship is a main program of this project, that we encourage as many people as possible. We are talking of 1 million, right? This 1 million is not even enough to start the round of training for the next exercise, mind you. So people may choose not to go into white-collar jobs. They may decide to be on their own and be able to do very
fantastic.
Very well.
Many thanks. Madam Oshikaya, I'd like to get back to you because you talked about international certification. And, you know, when Mr. Bayo was speaking earlier, he talked about, I think Dr. Oyekale was talking about getting international placements. So I'm thinking that with this exposure, would this not worsen our Japa syndrome? You know, I'm just thinking that's one. Then two, what is the plan really, away from the artisanal program that you have, which is for artisans who are already established in certain fields? For this, you're probably going to have beginners, dropouts, people who do not have a source of livelihood before, who are probably going to. So what's the plan after the initiative, after the 6 months training, just so that these people are able to, you know, stand up on their own and be able to take care of themselves?
Okay, thank you for that very interesting question, and we'll go with it. You know, when I started out, I said the Certiport certification actually focus on baseline skills. You know, you're talking not just for IT supported, but also IT. When you take it to the core IT skills, a lot of us are lost. I don't know about you, but even though my first degree is mathematics, I can't remember more than C++. Okay, you have gone beyond C++ right now, which you have to do as an elective course. You know, and that becomes so very complex. But I tell you something which is very interesting and fascinating for me. Sometime 2 years ago, December, there's this group that came from the US, and they were just going to do something in IT, and I was invited, particularly because of the sewing championship thing we're having about. I think they are Brave Hearts or something like that. And they came, and then they had this Hodge in Eco Hotels also taken over by a lot of young people. And I saw something that fascinated me that I haven't seen before. And for the first time in my life, I thank God I went with my laptop, talking about why you carry your laptop and your phone to those places. And I see these white guys and these Nigerians telling me how to actually do video making. I mean, I could just begin to carry some of those, you'll call them. For the first time, I saw my son downloaded CapCut on my phone.
Yes, yes.
I didn't understand what CapCut was about. Then I sat in this hall for 2 days, and I suddenly become one small pocket AI specialist, you know. Yeah? So just to answer your question, I think from my own experience, AI or anything you are talking about, it's not that. Because at the end of 2 years, they had 2 days, they had awards for who produced the best keto, just that they did in 2 days. And I was so impressed to see people over 40, 50 who just begin to share their stories about how they just got interested. And they broke us into this different hall. So you that you are in drama, you that you are in this, you that you are in that, and those who are doing the one I didn't understand, you know, the complex one where you are already beginning to do back end and front end and the rest of them. I was impressed. I think we have over 1,000 people in that hall at that day. And it makes sense for me. To answer your question, ma'am, I think these certification skills we are talking about, the big question, what is in certification? In here, we are used to an apprenticeship system where if a guy give you freedom, you don't work go. And that is just all you know. And then you are carrying over knowledge. But I think the new space is this issue about certification. For years, we've been talking about the NAPTEP certification of modular trade for whether you are a carpenter, you are an artisan, that you could actually have standardization. Why do we joke about tailors who get beaten overnight because you sew clothes that is not available? With this new digital literacy thing, like I'm telling you, you begin to look at a space where somebody with a phone and a tablet device can actually begin to go into creativity and innovation, and we will begin to surpass Dubai, we hope so, and Turkey and Bangladesh in terms of garments making. Because this field of learning has not been very accessible. Those tools are not really there. To answer that question, I am excited about the Certiport certification because I've not finished preaching the gospel of ordinary NAPTEP certification, which is only when some bourgeois wants to japa and they realize that they can't give you admission abroad because you cannot prove that you have sports ability. Yes. You do not have skills ability. You know, this is again telling us that what I would like to call excellency in skills. Excellency in craftsmanship is a bit deficient in our circle. We have this careless attitude that everything goes. Once I sit on a computer and I can do small Excel, I don't even need to know how to do certification. I don't need to know how to use Excel to calculate. I just conclude. So that person you might have hired as your computer assistant in the office actually do not understand the depth of it all. Okay. So when you play with certification, you are saying that the learning contents gets to a minimum standard that someone sitting over there would agree that you have the competence. And so when we get into that, we are saying for the digital literacy, it's not just about, I don't train them, you know how to use computer. It's about, did you pass the exam? That's one of the first criteria. Did you pass the exam? Because it costs to pay for the exam. But you who is going to be a beneficiary under the Clergy World Digital Literacy Academy, you are not going to pay for the exam. So if somebody pay for the exam, before you are due to that, who says you are ready? So whether it is the artisan craft, I think is the new innovation we are championing. To say whether it is ordinary carpentry, tailoring, or truck driving thing you are doing, do certification that is appropriate.
It's not ordinary. Digital carpentry earns a lot of money abroad.
Exactly. If it is digital literacy, because that additional certification has done Nigeria proud. It makes you proud to say there's freedom of movement. You could go wherever you want. We are already conquering by our population. We are bigger and higher. But the beautiful part is when you japa with this understanding, Shebi tax will come back to Nigeria. Shebi.
Let's pause with you. We'll come to you, Dr. Duran. We need to take a break, but we'll be right back. The conversation continues.
The Renewed Hope Initiative RHI presents the RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow. This national competition is in 3 categories. The household category is a tree planting competition amongst 11 frontline states in northern Nigeria. Each participating household in Adamawa, Borno, Bauchi, Gombe, Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, Yobe, and Zamfara states will plant a minimum of 1 tree to qualify, with a video evidence of before and after the tree planting exercise. 20 million naira will be awarded to the best household. Submission deadline is 20th December 2026. Community category will see local governments, local communities, schools, and NGOs reclaim and transform degraded or abandoned areas such as dump sites, landfills, parks, and their likes into green, vibrant gardens, parks, and eco-friendly spaces. 50 million naira would be awarded to the overall best community group. Deadline for submission is 15th July 2026. State category will have all states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, excluding Enugu State, have a chance to address the growing threats to environmental sustainability and cleanliness. States will be judged based on the number of trees planted on major roads and inner streets and how clean they are. 100 million naira will be awarded to the best performing state. Already, Enugu State has 100 million naira for being RHI's model green state due to its greenery and cleanliness. Video evidence must be submitted by participating states on or before 20th December 2026. All entries must be directed to RHI Office, State House, Abuja, or email rhi.greenchallenge@statehouse.gov.ng. RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow.
Imagine lovely meals you can cook with these ingredients. You spend heavily, but no guarantee of a tasty meal. Not making a right choice of seasoning cube can ruin your meal, money, and confidence. For a tasty meal, do not compromise. Choose Gold.
Use Terra Gold for the rich, consistent taste your loved ones crave for. Good for soups, stews, and jollof. Terra Gold. 1 cube, endless possibilities.
It is that time of the year again when we pause to say thank you for your trust, for your loyalty, and for staying with us every step of the way. Through the highs and the lows, the moments that mattered, the stories that shaped our nation. From breaking news to in-depth analysis, from compelling documentaries to quality entertainment, from public service information to stories that unite us as a nation. You made us your choice. We sincerely appreciate you. Our viewers, our partners, and our valued customers, thank you for your unwavering patronage throughout the year. And as we step into the new year, we are inspired to serve you better with greater dedication to professionalism, improved content, and stronger public service. NTA, trusted, authentic, reliable source of news, entertainment, and public service information. NTA. You can't beat the reach.
TerraCube, unwrap joy, unleash taste.
The Renewed Hope Initiative RHI presents the RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow. This national competition is in 3 categories. The household category is a tree planting competition amongst 11 frontline states in northern Nigeria. Each participating household in Adamawa, Borno, Bauchi, Gombe, Jigawa, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, Yobe, and Zamfara states will plant a minimum of 1 tree to qualify with a video evidence of before and after the tree planting exercise. 20 million naira will be awarded to the best household. Submission deadline is 20th December 2026. Community category will see local governments, local communities, schools, and NGOs reclaim and transform degraded or abandoned areas such as dump sites, landfills, parks, and their likes into green, vibrant gardens, parks, and eco-friendly spaces. 50 million naira would be awarded to the overall best community group. Deadline for submission is 15th July 2026. State category will have all states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, excluding Enugu State, have a chance to address the growing threats to environmental sustainability and cleanliness. States will be judged based on the number of trees planted on major roads and inner streets and how clean they are. 100 million naira will be awarded to the best performing state. Already, Enugu State has 100 million naira for being RHI's model green state due to its greenery and cleanliness. Video evidence must be submitted by participating states on or before 20th December 2026. All entries must be directed to RHI Office, State House, Abuja, or email rhi.greenchallenge@statehouse.gov.ng. RHI Green Nigeria Challenge. Go green today for a greener tomorrow.
You're welcome back, and you're still watching Good Morning Nigeria. We still have our guest in the studio, but some of our viewers want to contribute to this conversation and they have questions for our guest. Let me take some of them. One said, good morning. This program is very good and timely. My question is, when is the program starting and how can we be part of the program? And what is the difference between this program and 3MTT? Another one said, how will students benefit from this program? That is the Clergy Wealth Initiative Cooperative. That's from Omadim. He wrote in Omadim wrote. Another one said, good morning. When is the ICT training conference and how can one participate? That's coming from Teslimi Amo, the ICT Federal College of Education, Iwo and Oshu State. Another one said, good morning, lovely people. My name is Ohenevo from Azare, Bauchi State. Please, I want to know the content of the training and the day after of the training. Thank you. I want to say, good morning, Nigeria. Many thanks, NTA, for today's discussion. The most critical and noticeable challenges with this laudable project are in the areas of implementation, selection process, and evaluation of its success. How transparent and inclusive this program is going to be. This program is going to be. My fear, this project will not be like other initiatives of the past. May God bless Nigeria. Amen. From Kayade Busari, Lagos. And Prince Victor Stephen from Yola said, good morning, Happy New Year. There's a lot of legislation. There's a lot legislation can do in ensuring digital literacy across Nigeria. Plateau State in 2018 signed into law PICTDA, Plateau Information Communications Development Agency. Other states should be advised to emulate. Guest opinions on this, please. And that's from Mr. Victor from Yola.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay.
No, we have more questions, but I think you should respond to
Thank you very much. You see, I said before we went on break that there is need for us to lay bare what the content is all about. And before going into this, I want to bring us to what happened June 2, 2024, when a portal was actually, the German government developed a registration portal for Nigerians to employ a number of Nigerians, up to like 1.6 million. But after a year, they were unable to actually get a distributable number. That they had to even send another emissary to Nigeria to, interact with Nigerians with the intention of, recruiting, employing about 500 Nigerians, because their economy is in serious problems, crisis because of this shortage of competent hands. But over time, sincerely speaking, we've disappointed them. Why? We have so many skilled people all over everywhere, but no proof of skill attainment. And that is global certification. Because
I don't want to pause you here. I don't want to pause you here. How aware were Nigerians about the German initiative? How aware was out there? What more sort of information was out there?
Thank you very much. It was online. It was online, and people that have access to different platforms have access to this information. But the problem is this: sincerely speaking, if the National Council on Communication and Digital Economy in 2020 in Owerri could unanimously, agreed that all training programs in Nigeria must conform to global standard, and global certification is the proof of skill attainment, that speaks volume that we are not doing it rightly. So this program is going to reset Nigeria, because the programs are ending in what? Global certification that will make Nigerians to be at the same competitive level with the rest of the world. So what is the content of this clergy wealth program? One, we are starting with the baseline assessment. You need to know whether you have what it takes to even be part of the program from the start, so that you don't waste your own time and waste our resources. That is number one. Then moving from there, we go into the IC3 digital literacy program. The IC3 is the criterion for employment globally. Yes, and that even explains why most of our youth are not as...
Can you clarify on the IC3 in terms of simple languages and items that we can...
That is the IC3, that is the minimum requirement for employment. It has 7 domains. So you have to go through and write 3 certifications before you can have that.
Which are these domains, since they want clarity?
I'm coming, ma'am. So this, the 7 domains are into 3, addressed as 3 modules. Really that is it. 3 modules. The key applications, living online, and computing fundamentals. Those are the constituents or the component of the IC3 digital literacy. Then you now move to the critical career skills, which I mentioned earlier, the communication skills, collaboration skills, creativity skills, critical thinking skill, and generative AI. From there, you move to the entrepreneurship and small business. How do you recognize opportunities, setting a business, running an existing business, and so on and so forth? That is the third one for everybody. Before you now move to the career part. On the career part, we have the IT and IT supported. On the IT, you have to pick 2 of the followings: cloud computing, software development, artificial intelligence, cyber security, databases, data analytics, networking, network security,
okay, many thanks.
So then on the IT supported side, you see, why is interesting is this. The IT, if you're a teacher now, you need certain skills, but you still need to go back to the IT and pick one that will support
I'm sure you have an online platform that people can go get all of this information.
What is important, and I think we need to keep focus. What is important is if you listen to the inauguration of the Joint Implementation Committee by the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, is announcing to Nigeria that a Joint Implementation Committee has been set up. And the Joint Implementation Committee has articulated references. And so what he's speaking to right now is actually part of what would be formally unveiled by the president on that day. And so I would want to say the proper thing to do at this time is to inform Nigerians that there is a national conference on digital literacy and emerging skills.
When is it coming?
Which is coming up. The presidency is to confirm. Yes, because that is coming.
But do you have an online, do you have a website that people can go
Yes,
down
Clergy Wealth has a website.
Please
so
let us know.
they could just go search Clergy Wealth. Just type in Clergy Wealth as a keyword. You will find.
And you get all the details. Okay, fine. Let's quickly.
Yes, but to answer to who can be at the conference, when you have a conference that just a representative group, that's what you do in a conference. The conference is not that you can accommodate 210 million Nigeria. So we are looking at the representative group, and that's part of what the Joint Implementation Committee is doing right now, saying that the list of invitation is being mapped out, is being factored out, and that will be there. But then we also appreciate the fact that these questions are coming up. But what we would like to assure Nigerians is we need to just build a little bit of trust to say that government has gone through this. Government has decided on a public-private partnership collaboration with Clergy Wealth, and we have a consortium of relevant key stakeholders. They are the policymakers as well. And we are formulating the implementation that ensures that this promise, it wouldn't be like one of these development assistance that it comes, you collect some parts and you lose some parts. We are targeting at 100% at that. And so the date, I'm happy that we are in conversation that as soon as the secretary to the government confirms the actual date of the conference, all Nigerians will be aware. But
Okay,
we need to
thanks.
know that this conference is holding at the State House, yes, banquet hall, which makes it even more restrictive, that it is a representative group. And I can assure them that this mapping we have done means that there's no stakeholder group that is left behind, whether you are a professional in one domain, whether it is technical, you are a teacher, you are a doctor, you are that, you are students, and we've looked at the disaggregation of all the student body. Will this conference have a virtual
opportunity for those who cannot? I mean, because of the restrictions.
Yes. It will be because the State House, the banquet hall has ICT. Is a digital
okay, let's talk about inclusivity here. Let's talk about inclusivity.
Let's read some of the messages that we have. We have some more messages here. This one says, more inquiry about implementing digital literacy and emerging skills in Nigeria. Please, what is the location of the training academy? That's coming from Kambi. Another one from Nandom Wiyep from Jos says, thank you for the enlightenment. In today's rapidly evolving digital landscape, digital literacy has become a cornerstone of success in virtually every professional role. It encompasses not just the ability to use digital tools, but also the capacity to adapt to new technologies, think critically about digital information, and leverage digital resources to solve complex problems. How do you balance using digital tools for creativity with more traditional methods? Another one here says, good morning, ladies and gentlemen in the studio. I'm interested in this implementing digital literacy and emerging skills in Nigeria. Please, how can I register for the program? Sarah Judine. Another one says, good morning, Nigeria. Good morning to all the panelists. Please, I want to ask about applicants who are over 40 years but interested. Is there any hope of them benefiting? Applications are already completed for a batch before this sensitization on NTA. So what's in it for those of us watching?
I want to address the last one first. That at the moment as we speak, 0 persons have been registered.
Okay.
And so for the purpose of, I don't know, maybe I would like to assure people that I'm an NGO person.
You don't need to know anybody to get in.
You don't need to. And so, but having said that, I want to say one thing to the general public. We are aware that there's a lot of questions that is being asked. And just like we also want to assure them that there will be adequate platform for information, communication, and education. And part of what we are looking at is subsequently, we will be hosting targeted programs. We're having that conversation even with NTA24 to say that we need to have some of these focus programs that will run all through the program. So we are interested in the feedbacks. And that is the way of saying that emphasis again, that this is not a government-funded project. And you would know that when private sector fund in activities, the issue is not really about scoring its political points. It's about meeting a humanitarian and a human capital development goal. And so to that, I can tell you from here, I do not know one person who would be that. And it's exciting to say that all the other fears we all have would be there because all of us are already parties to this conversation.
So what your website, could you spell it out just for someone who's trying to get that?
So let me just say this as well.
They don't.
For the purpose of this program, of course, one of those questions is what's the difference between these and the federal government 3MTT?
3MTT.
So 3MTT is government-led. This is wholly private-led, however, with partnership with government. Now, like you rightly said, because it's private-led, we have the target goals. And of course, when private leads and they are bringing in the money, the result is it's what we're looking at. Now, don't also forget that because the way this has also been structured, the inclusion of professionals, really, professional body like ours to be part of this conversation and engagement is also very key. Because we are saying as professionals, once we have our stamp on something, we are very sure that the result is guaranteed. So we won't be part of any of those things that will not give Nigerians the kind of results we want to get. Now, in terms of IT penetration and all of that, and I also listened to that question, government setting up agencies and all of that. Beyond legislation, beyond setting up agencies to drive digital literacy and IT penetration in other states, it has to be intentional. Beyond, a lot of states have these agencies, but how many are functional? How many are bringing the kind of result that are desired? So having the professionals in place, getting the right people to drive these processes. I mean, that writer named the particular state. They are getting results, no doubt. But other states who also have similar agencies also need to look at how do you drive such agencies with professionals so as to give you the kind of results that you want.
Okay, let's talk about inclusivity into this conversation, especially for women and persons with disability.
Yeah. Sincerely speaking, that will be confirmed by the Joint Implementation Committee. But as we put it, at least 40% are expected to take care of those special
groups. Yes.
And another thing I want to tell us is this: like between December 8th and 12th in Jos Plateau State, the National Council on Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy met, and they took a lot of decisions. And sincerely speaking, I'm happy that government has seen that Clergy Wealth is taking a step ahead, because FP, the future-proof economy model as benchmark for digital literacy to align with the rest of the world, was actually approved at that conference. And look at it. Before we say Jack, Clergy Wealth has started implementing the future-proof economy as the model for benchmarking the digital literacy and emerging skills program that Nigerians will
Fantastic.
take
Many thanks.
Many
thanks, Dr. Nira. As we begin to round up this conversation,
can we ask about the website?
Now, yeah, you mentioned the website. But as we begin to expand digital skills, how prepared are we to handle cybersecurity, data privacy, and online safety? I mean, that's part of this whole conversation. Are you doing something just so that those who will be properly trained in this regard do not go the negative way?
Thank you very much. That is, I tried to roll out the content of the program. Cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and all those things will be captured, so that you see, when you are better informed and you have your skills upgraded, updated, you'll be able to cope against all these kind of menaces. I remember April 30 this year, EFCC actually signed a memorandum of understanding on on this issue of providing alternative cyber skills to cope cyber criminalities, and that's exactly what Clergy Wealth is trying to do. Okay. Cybersecurity is a main program, right, of this future-proof economy.
Right,
okay, in 30, yes,
the website.
Your website. Okay, in 30 seconds, bio.
www.clergywealth.
How can Nigeria, leverage remote work, to reduce youth employment from this program?
So the first thing you need to realize is that it's not a future thing. Okay. It is something that is already happening. Right? Do we have
we're preparing for the future.
Yeah. Do you have people who are doing remote jobs in Nigeria currently? The answer is yes. What percentage? The numbers we do not have, because people are just, doing their thing. Once you have the skills, you put it out there, you get employed and you just do your thing. But because the government have also seen that bigger picture that, you know what, a lot of our citizens are doing these things because there are inflows that come into Nigeria, right? So we're now looking at it to say, okay, how do we now formalize it? So that it now looks like we are formally outsourcing, our human capital.
And reduce Japan.
Of course, reduce Japan, of course, earn more for the country. So this program and other ones are part of the things that will lay proper foundation to really have all of these skills properly captured, people properly documented, and of course, we're able to trace how well we are exporting our skills and outsourcing.
Do you have the website?
In addition to that, gig economy is the tip of the ice for this program. Is the last program. Every beneficiary of this program will be exposed to gig economy training, and they will have a global certification as proof of attainment of that skills.
Thank you very much. The website, of course, will provide more information to our viewers who are interested. So, Madam Shikoya, can we have that?
Yes, it's just www.clergywealth.org.
Spell the Clergy Wealth.
Yes.
Spell the Clergy Wealth.
CLERGYWEALT. One word.
No
space.
Clergy Wealth.
Yes.
Clergy Wealth.
Clergy Wealth. Yes.
www.clergywwealth.org. The wealth doesn't have H at the end.
It does have.
It does have the wealth.
Wealth, yeah.
Okay.
Clergy Wealth.
Clergy
Wealth
Wealth.
as in money.
Okay.
Yes.
Your final words in 30 seconds.
My final words to everybody is together we can all make a difference. So first, there's something you can do to yourself. Fundamentally, everybody has a personal responsibility for self-improvement. And so when the platform is provided, maximize it and make the best you can. But if you can't be the one to benefit, help somebody spread in the word.
Okay.
But then we'll be waiting to see all Nigerians.
Okay, Madam Rosemary Osikoya, Deputy National Coordinator, Clergy Wealth Cooperative Initiative, and former Commissioner for Education, Kogi State. Honorable, thank you so much for coming on Good Morning and enlightening us on the project. And Dr. Niron Oyekale, Executive Chairman, Commit Technology and Consults Limited, Abuja Studio. Thank you so much for coming. As always, it's a pleasure. Yes. And Bayo Mohammed Onimode, FNCS, Chairman, Conferences Committee, Nigeria Computer Society, NCS. We appreciate you all.
Thank you very much.
It's
nice.
All right. So that's Good Morning Nigeria for today, this beautiful Tuesday morning. Hope you enjoyed the program as much as we did bringing it to you. Do join us tomorrow for another interesting edition.
All right, I'm Ian Ray John.
And I'm Juma Yusuf.